You cannot see radio waves. You cannot smell them. You cannot touch them with your hands or prove their existence through simple observation. Yet if you tune a receiver to 98.5 FM, you hear the music perfectly, crisp, clear, undeniable. If you turn the dial to 101.5, the music changes entirely. A different song, a different message, broadcast from a different tower. William Walker Atkinson, one of the most formidable minds of the early 20th century, taught that your mind is the most powerful radio transmitter in the universe. You are broadcasting a signal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This signal never stops. It travels while you sleep, while you eat, while you scroll through your phone believing you are doing nothing. The problem, the catastrophic, life-destroying problem, is that most men are broadcasting the loser station. They wonder why opportunities pass them by, why respect eludes them, why the world seems hostile and cold, never realizing that they are the source of the frequency that repels everything they claim to desire. Have you ever met someone and instantly disliked them before they spoke a single word? Before they insulted you, before they revealed their character through action, you felt a visceral repulsion that you could not explain. Conversely, have you ever met someone and instantly trusted them, felt drawn to them, sensed that this person was safe, competent, or magnetic, all before any rational assessment could take place? This phenomenon is not mystical. It is not a quirk of intuition or a lucky guess. This is personal magnetism, and it is the subconscious reception of their silent broadcast. You are reading the invisible signal that radiates from their mental and emotional state. Atkinson understood that human beings are not isolated islands. We are transmitting and receiving stations, constantly exchanging invisible information. You are telling the world exactly who you are, even when your mouth is shut. Your confidence, your fear, your ambition, your desperation, all of it pours out of you in waves that others pick up on a level beneath conscious thought. The man who walks into a room vibrating weakness will be treated with contempt, even if he wears an expensive suit and speaks in polished sentences. The man who walks into the same room vibrating calm power will command respect, even if he is dressed modestly and says very little. The broadcast overrides the costume. This is the invisible introduction that determines your fate before you have a chance to make your case. In this video, we will learn how to change the station. We will not dabble in vague affirmations or wishful thinking. We will discover the silent broadcast techniques that Atkinson taught to turn your aura from a repelling force into a magnetic tractor beam for opportunities. You will learn the mechanics of thought vibration, the way your mental state creates a physical frequency that travels through space and influences the behavior of everyone you encounter. You will learn how to consciously tune your broadcast, how to eliminate the static of doubt and fear, and how to amplify the signal of confidence and purpose until it becomes so strong that opportunities begin to bend toward you as iron filings bend toward a magnet. This is not a metaphor, this is not poetry. This is a systematic method for altering the invisible forces that govern success and failure in every area of life. Atkinson was not a mystic wandering in the clouds. He was an engineer of the mind, and he left us a blueprint. By the end of this journey, you will understand why some men seem to attract luck effortlessly while others struggle in vain, and you will possess the tools to join the former. This is the promise, and if you are ready to stop broadcasting failure and start broadcasting power, then let us begin. Atkinson is famous for the phrase, "Thoughts are things." This is not a poetic expression meant to inspire. It is a declaration of physics as Atkinson understood it. He taught that a thought is not just a vapor drifting through the corridors of your brain, a fleeting impression with no substance or consequence. A thought is a physical vibration that travels through the ether, the invisible medium that connects all minds. Like a stone thrown into a still pond, a thought creates ripples that spread outward, touching everything in their path. When you think a thought of fear, that vibration radiates from you and is felt by everyone in your vicinity, even if they cannot articulate what they are feeling. When you think a thought of confidence, that too radiates outward, altering the behavior of those who come into contact with your field. Atkinson was writing at a time when science was beginning to understand the nature of invisible forces, radio waves, X-rays, electromagnetic fields, and he applied this framework to the mind. He saw no distinction between the physical and the mental. Both operated according to laws of vibration and frequency. This was revolutionary because it removed thought from the realm of the intangible and placed it squarely in the realm of cause and effect. Your thoughts are not private. They are broadcast. They are not inconsequential. They are formative. Every thought you think is a brick in the structure of your reality, and if you are building with bricks of doubt, resentment, and anxiety, you should not be surprised when your reality reflects those materials back to you. Consider the man who constantly thinks, "I am not good enough." He believes this thought is contained within his skull, a private torment that affects no one but himself. But Atkinson would tell him that this thought is a low-frequency vibration that pulses outward from him like a sonar ping. When he enters a job interview, the interviewer picks up this frequency subconsciously and feels a vague sense of doubt about his competence. When he approaches a woman, she feels the insecurity radiating from him and loses interest before he finishes his first sentence. The thought is a thing, and it is doing work in the world whether he acknowledges it or not. Now imagine the opposite. A man who has trained himself to think, "I am capable, I am powerful, I am exactly where I need to be." This thought, too, is a vibration, but it is a high-frequency signal that commands attention and respect. It does not matter if this man has yet achieved great things. The broadcast precedes the evidence. People respond to the signal before they analyze the resume. This is why a confident novice will often be chosen over an anxious expert. The broadcast is louder than the credentials. Atkinson understood that the battle for success is not fought in the external world first. It is fought in the vibrational field that surrounds you. Win there, and the external world has no choice but to comply. But how does this mechanism operate? How does an invisible vibration produce tangible results? Atkinson explained it through the principle of resonance. Every object, every organism, every mind has a natural frequency at which it vibrates. When two objects vibrate at similar frequencies, they resonate with each other. They amplify each other's signal. When a tuning fork is struck, it will cause another tuning fork of the same pitch to vibrate in sympathy, even if they are not touching. The same principle applies to minds. When you vibrate at the frequency of success, confidence, purpose, clarity, you resonate with other people, events, and circumstances that vibrate at that same frequency. You do not attract them through magic, you attract them through physics. Your signal calls out to their signal and a connection is established. This is why successful people tend to cluster together, why opportunities seem to pile upon those who are already winning. It is not favoritism or luck, it is resonance. Conversely, when you vibrate at the frequency of failure, fear, doubt, victimhood, you resonate with failure. You call it toward you. You make yourself a magnet for the very experiences you claim to despise. Atkinson's insight strips away the mystery and reveals the brutal simplicity of the law. You get what you broadcast. This is not a comfortable truth. It means you cannot blame your circumstances for your misery. It means you cannot point to bad luck or unfair treatment as the source of your suffering. If your life is a mess, it is because you have been broadcasting mess. If your relationships are toxic, it is because you have been vibrating toxicity. The frequency you emit is the frequency you receive, and no amount of complaining or justification will alter that law. Atkinson was merciless in this regard. He did not offer consolation to those who wished to remain victims. He offered power to those who were willing to take responsibility. He said, in effect, "You are the broadcaster. You control the dial. If you do not like what you are receiving, change what you are transmitting." This is terrifying because it removes all excuses, but it is also liberating because it places the power entirely in your hands. You are not at the mercy of fate or fortune. You are the architect of your own frequency, and once you accept that, you can begin the work of tuning the signal to attract the life you desire rather than the life you fear. So the first pillar of Atkinson's teaching is this: thoughts are not abstract. They are concrete forces. They are things with weight, with momentum, with the power to shape reality. If you think weak thoughts, you will live a weak life. If you think powerful thoughts, you will live a powerful life. This is not motivational fluff, this is mechanical causation. Atkinson was teaching a technology of the mind, and like any technology, it works precisely when applied correctly and fails spectacularly when ignored. Most men are broadcasting on autopilot, allowing their thoughts to wander wherever circumstance pushes them, never realizing that each undisciplined thought is a message sent to the universe saying, "This is what I am. This is what I deserve. This is what I expect." And the universe, which is nothing more than the vast network of resonant frequencies, responds with perfect accuracy. It sends you exactly what you are asking for, even if you are asking through fear and doubt rather than through confidence and desire. To change your results, you must first change your broadcast. You must take conscious control of the thoughts you think, the emotions you feel, and the mental atmosphere you project into the world. This is the foundation. Without it, nothing else Atkinson teaches will matter. To drive this point home, consider the example of two men entering the same business meeting. Both have equivalent qualifications. Both have practiced their pitch. But one man enters the room with a silent subconscious mantra of, "I hope they like me, I hope I don't mess this up, I hope I'm good enough," while the other enters with the silent broadcast of, "I am bringing value, I am solving their problem, they need me." The first man is vibrating need and desperation. The second man is vibrating value and self-assurance. Before a single word is spoken, the decision makers in the room have already picked up on these frequencies. The first man will face skepticism and resistance. The second man will face curiosity and openness. The outcome is determined not by the content of their words, but by the content of their broadcast. Atkinson would say that the first man is asking to be rejected, and the second man is asking to be accepted. Both will receive precisely what they are asking for. This is the merciless efficiency of the law of vibration. It does not care about your intentions or your hopes. It cares only about the signal you are transmitting in this moment. If you want to master your life, you must master your signal. You must become conscious of the frequency you are emitting and ruthless in correcting it when it drifts into weakness. This is the discipline that separates the magnetic man from the invisible man. This is the difference between those who attract and those who beg. Atkinson further explained that thoughts are contagious. When you enter a room filled with anxious people, you will feel anxiety creeping into your own mind, even if you had no reason to be anxious before. This is not empathy. This is vibrational transfer. Their low-frequency broadcast is attempting to drag your frequency down to match theirs. Similarly, when you enter a room filled with confident, purposeful people, you will feel a surge of energy and clarity. Their high-frequency broadcast is lifting you up. This is why environment matters. This is why the people you surround yourself with are not a trivial concern, but a matter of life and death for your mental frequency. If you spend your time with losers, you will begin to vibrate at the loser frequency, no matter how strong you believe your will to be. Their broadcast is constant, and over time, it will wear you down and retune your signal to match theirs. Atkinson would counsel you to guard your environment as jealously as a miser guards his gold. You must choose your influences with ruthless precision, ensuring that you are surrounded by frequencies that support your desired state rather than frequencies that sabotage it. This is not arrogance, this is survival. If you allow yourself to be pulled into the gravitational field of low-frequency people, you will find it nearly impossible to maintain your own high-frequency broadcast. You will be constantly fighting to stay afloat, and eventually, you will sink. The materiality of thought also explains why visualization works, but only when done correctly. Most people approach visualization as a passive daydream, a pleasant fantasy with no real power. Atkinson taught that visualization is effective only when it is infused with intense feeling and will. You are not simply imagining a desired outcome, you are broadcasting the frequency of that outcome into the ether. You are creating a vibrational template that the universe can respond to. When you visualize with emotion, you are sending out a high-intensity signal that says, "This is what I am. This is what I expect. This is what I demand." And the universe, which operates on the principle of resonance, begins to arrange circumstances to match that signal. But if your visualization is weak, If it is laced with doubt or performed half-heartedly, the signal is garbled and weak. The universe receives mixed messages and responds with confusion and delay. This is why some men swear by visualization and others dismiss it as nonsense. The technique itself is neutral. Its effectiveness depends entirely on the strength and clarity of the broadcast. Atkinson was adamant that you must visualize with the same intensity and focus that you would use to command an army or close a critical deal. Anything less is wasted effort. Finally, the concept of thoughts as things obliterates the excuse of, "I can't help how I feel." Atkinson would tell you that you absolutely can help how you feel, because feelings are downstream from thoughts, and thoughts are under your control. If you are feeling weak, it is because you are thinking weak thoughts. If you are feeling powerful, it is because you are thinking powerful thoughts. You are not a victim of your emotions. You are the creator of your emotions through the thoughts you choose to entertain. This is a radical repositioning of responsibility. It means that if you are miserable, it is because you have been broadcasting misery through your habitual thought patterns. And if you want to stop being miserable, you must stop thinking the thoughts that generate misery. This is not easy, and Atkinson never claimed it was. It requires constant vigilance, constant correction, and constant effort. But it is possible, and it is the only path to true power. The man who masters his thoughts masters his emotions. The man who masters his emotions masters his broadcast, and the man who masters his broadcast masters his life. This is the chain of causation that Atkinson revealed, and it is the key to everything that follows. Atkinson was one of the fathers of the law of attraction, though the term has been so distorted and commercialized in modern times that its original meaning has been nearly lost. Today, the law of attraction is often presented as a kind of cosmic wish fulfillment. Think positive thoughts, and the universe will deliver a new car to your driveway. Atkinson would have scorned this shallow interpretation. He viewed the law of attraction mechanically, as a precise and impersonal force akin to the law of gravitation. Like attracts like is not a motivational slogan. It is physics. If you vibrate fear, you physically attract bullies, thieves, and predators because they resonate with the frequency of fear. They are drawn to it the way a shark is drawn to blood in the water. If you vibrate confidence, you physically attract partners, investors, and allies because they resonate with the frequency of power and purpose. They seek it out because it aligns with their own aspirations and needs. This is not mysticism. This is the mechanical operation of resonance applied to human behavior. Atkinson stripped the sentimentality from the concept and revealed it as a neutral law that operates whether you understand it or not, whether you believe in it or not, and whether you like its results or not. Consider the man who constantly fears betrayal. He thinks he is being prudent, protecting himself from future pain by maintaining a state of vigilance. But what is he actually doing? He is broadcasting the frequency of betrayal 24 hours a day. He is sending out a signal that says, "I expect to be betrayed. I am on guard against betrayal. Betrayal is what I focus on." And the universe, operating on the principle of resonance, responds by sending him people who will betray him. Not because the universe is cruel, but because he has tuned his receiver to the betrayal frequency. He has become a magnet for the very thing he fears. Atkinson would tell this man that his fear is not protecting him. It is creating the reality he dreads. The way to avoid betrayal is not to fear it, but to vibrate trust, integrity, and self-assurance. When you broadcast those frequencies, you attract people who resonate with trust and integrity. You repel those who operate on deceit because your frequency is incompatible with theirs. This is the brutal efficiency of the law. You attract what you are, not what you want. If you want loyal people in your life, you must first become loyal in your own vibration. If you want honest people, you must vibrate honesty. The law does not care about your wishes, it cares about your frequency. The same principle applies to money. The man who constantly worries about money, who thinks, "I don't have enough, I'm going to lose it all, I can't afford this," is broadcasting the frequency of poverty. He is telling the universe through every anxious thought that he is a poor man. And the universe, which is simply the aggregate of all resonant frequencies, responds by keeping him poor. Opportunities for wealth do not resonate with his signal, so they pass him by. People who could help him sense his desperation and avoid him. Deals that could enrich him collapse because his low-frequency broadcast repels the high-frequency energy of abundance. Atkinson explained that this is why poverty is so difficult to escape. It is not just a lack of money, it is a vibrational trap. The poor man vibrates poverty, which attracts more poverty, which reinforces the vibration of poverty, creating a feedback loop that can only be broken by a conscious and sustained effort to change the broadcast. The man who wants to become wealthy must first vibrate wealth. He must think, feel, and act as a wealthy man would, even when his bank account does not yet reflect that reality. This is not delusion, this is deliberate frequency adjustment. He is tuning his signal to resonate with abundance, and over time, the law of attraction will deliver opportunities, insights, and connections that align with that new frequency. But here is where most men fail. They attempt to change their external circumstances without first changing their internal vibration. They work harder, they network more, they chase opportunities, all while continuing to vibrate fear, scarcity, and doubt. And they wonder why their efforts produce meager results. Atkinson would tell them that they are trying to change the reflection in the mirror without changing the object in front of the mirror. The external world is a reflection of your internal broadcast. If you want to change the reflection, you must change the broadcast. No amount of external hustle will compensate for a weak or negative internal frequency. This is why some men achieve success through brute force and then lose it all. They never change their broadcast. They simply overpowered it temporarily with massive action. But the broadcast is relentless. It wears them down. Eventually, their true frequency reasserts itself, and they collapse back to the level that matches their internal vibration. The only sustainable success is success that is built on a foundation of aligned frequency. You must become the thing you want to attract, and only then will the law of attraction work in your favor rather than against you. Atkinson also taught that the law of attraction operates on a principle of intensity. A weak thought produces a weak attraction. A strong thought, infused with emotion and will, produces a strong attraction. This is why half-hearted affirmations are useless. If you stand in front of a mirror and mumble, "I am confident," while feeling nothing, you are sending out a weak, garbled signal that produces no results. But if you stand in front of that mirror and declare, "I am confident," with every fiber of your being, with your chest expanded, your eyes blazing, your will focused like a laser, you are sending out a high-intensity signal that cuts through the noise and demands a response from the universe. Atkinson was adamant that intensity matters. The man who wants something casually will attract it casually, which is to say, not at all. The man who wants something with burning desire, who thinks about it with focus, who feels it with passion, will attract it with speed and certainty. This is why desperation repels. It is high intensity but negative frequency. Confidence attracts because it is high intensity and positive frequency. The combination of intensity and frequency determines your magnetic power. To make this practical, consider your own life. What are you attracting right now? Look around you. Look at your relationships, your finances, your opportunities. These are not random. They are the precise reflection of your current broadcast. If you are surrounded by chaos, you are vibrating chaos. If you are surrounded by mediocrity, you are vibrating mediocrity. If you are surrounded by excellence, you are vibrating excellence. The law does not lie. It does not make mistakes. It delivers to you exactly what you are asking for through your dominant thoughts and feelings. Most men recoil from this truth because it means they are responsible for their current reality. It means they cannot blame their boss, their spouse, their parents, or the economy. It means they are the broadcaster, and the static-filled signal they have been sending out is the reason their life is static-filled. But once you accept this truth, once you swallow the bitter pill of responsibility, you gain access to infinite power. Because if you are the broadcaster, you can change the broadcast. You can tune to a different frequency. You can attract a different reality. This is the promise of Atkinson's teaching. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a creator of circumstance through the vibrations you emit. Atkinson further explained that the law of attraction operates both consciously and unconsciously. If you are not deliberately choosing your thoughts, you are broadcasting by default, which means you are at the mercy of whatever random thoughts, fears, and anxieties drift through your mind. Most men live their entire lives in this default mode, never realizing that they are sending out a signal. They are like radio stations that have been left on with no one at the controls, broadcasting static and noise, and they wonder why their lives are filled with static and noise. Atkinson taught that the first step to mastery is to become conscious of your broadcast. You must wake up to the fact that you are transmitting constantly, and that what you transmit determines what you receive. Once you are conscious, you can begin to control the signal. You can choose your thoughts rather than allowing them to choose you. You can select the frequency you want to vibrate at and maintain it through discipline and will. This is the transition from passive victim to active creator, and it is the most important shift a man can make in his life. The law of attraction is also selective. It does not attract everything indiscriminately. It attracts the things that match your frequency. If you vibrate confidence but also harbor a deep unconscious fear of failure, you will attract mixed results. Some opportunities will come, but they will be sabotaged by your unconscious broadcast of fear. This is why inner alignment is crucial. You cannot simply plaster positive thoughts on top of negative beliefs and expect the law to work in your favor. You must dig deep and root out the contradictory frequencies that are sabotaging your signal. Atkinson called this mental house cleaning, and he insisted that it is the unglamorous but necessary work of anyone who wants to harness the law effectively. You must identify the fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs that are broadcasting in the background and neutralize them. Only then will your conscious broadcast be free to operate at full strength without interference. Finally, Atkinson warned against using the law of attraction for petty or selfish ends. He taught that while the law is mechanical and will deliver whatever you ask for, there are consequences for misuse. If you use your mental power to manipulate, control, or harm others, you are broadcasting a low-frequency signal that will eventually turn on you. The law is impersonal, but it is also just. What you send out comes back to you, not as punishment, but as resonance. If you send out harm, you will attract harm. If you send out generosity, you will attract generosity. Atkinson was a man of principle, and he believed that true power comes from aligning your broadcast with universal principles of growth, service, and integrity. When you do this, the law of attraction becomes a force for good in your life and in the lives of those around you. You attract not just success, but meaningful success. Not just wealth, but wealth that serves a purpose. Not just power, but power that uplifts. This is the highest use of the law, and it is the path that Atkinson himself walked. We discussed the social signal with Wallace Wattles in a previous exploration. Wattles taught that the man who wishes to rise must send a signal to the world that he is an advancing man, someone who is growing, improving, and moving toward a larger life. This signal, Wattles explained, is communicated through action, appearance, and attitude. It is a deliberate message that you send to others to invite opportunity and respect. Atkinson gives us the missing piece of this puzzle, the broadcast strength. While Wattles tells you what signal to send, Atkinson explains how to power that signal and ensure it is received with clarity. The social signal is the message. The broadcast strength is the transmission power behind that message. A weak broadcast will cause even the best message to be lost in the noise. A strong broadcast will ensure that your message cuts through the static and reaches the minds of those who can help you. This is the critical distinction. Wattles tells you to be an advancing man. Atkinson explains that if your internal vibration is retreating, if you are filled with doubt, fear, or hesitation, no amount of acting will hide it. The broadcast overrides the mask. People will sense the incongruence between your external performance and your internal frequency, and they will instinctively distrust you. This is why so many men fail despite following all the right advice. They dress well, they speak confidently, they take action, but beneath the surface they are vibrating insecurity. The broadcast betrays them. Atkinson taught that the human mind is exquisitely sensitive to these invisible signals. You may not be able to articulate what is wrong with a person, but you can feel it. You sense the disconnect between their words and their energy. This is the power of the broadcast, and it is why inner work is not optional. You cannot fake your frequency. You can fake your words, your posture, your smile, but you cannot fake the vibration that radiates from the core of your being. Wattles understood this intuitively when he emphasized the importance of truly embodying the mindset of the advancing man. He knew that it was not enough to act the part. You had to be the part. Atkinson gives us the mechanism. You must tune your internal frequency to match the external signal you are trying to send. When your inner and outer broadcasts are aligned, you become irresistible. When they are misaligned, you become repellent, no matter how polished your presentation. Consider the entrepreneur who has read all the books, who knows the strategies, who speaks the language of success. He walks into a pitch meeting with a well-rehearsed presentation, but deep inside, he does not truly believe in his product. He is plagued by doubts about whether it will work, whether he is competent enough to execute, whether he deserves to succeed. This inner vibration is broadcasting loud and clear, even as his mouth delivers confident statements. The investors in the room pick up on this dissonance. They cannot explain why, but something feels off. They ask probing questions, they withhold enthusiasm, and ultimately they pass on the deal. The entrepreneur walks away convinced that he just needs to refine his pitch, never realizing that the problem was not his words, but his broadcast. Atkinson would tell him that he must first resolve the inner conflict. He must align his internal frequency with the external message. He must become, in his core, the confident leader he is trying to portray. Only then will the broadcast carry the ring of authenticity, and only then will people respond with trust and investment. This alignment principle extends to every area of life. The man who wants to attract a high-quality woman but internally believes he is unworthy will broadcast unworthiness. She will feel it the moment he approaches. She will not consciously think this man is unworthy, but she will feel a vague discomfort, a lack of attraction, a sense that something is missing. The broadcast has poisoned the well before he even had a chance to make his case. Conversely, the man who genuinely believes he is a catch, who has done the inner work to align his self-perception with his desired reality, will broadcast worthiness. Women will sense it immediately. They will be drawn to him, curious about him, eager to spend time with him, often without understanding why. This is the power of an aligned broadcast. It bypasses rational analysis and speaks directly to the subconscious mind, which makes decisions about attraction, trust, and respect in the blink of an eye. Atkinson understood that humans are not primarily rational creatures. We are vibrational creatures. We respond to frequencies first and justify our responses with logic later. If you want to influence people, you must master your frequency. The concept of broadcast strength also explains why some men succeed with minimal effort, while others exhaust themselves and achieve nothing. The man with a strong broadcast does not need to try as hard because his signal is doing the heavy lifting. He enters a room and people turn their heads. He speaks and people listen. He asks for something and people comply. This is not charisma in the traditional sense, it is vibrational power. His broadcast is so strong and so clear that it compels attention and respect. The man with a weak broadcast, on the other hand, must compensate with effort. He must shout to be heard. He must grovel to be taken seriously. He exhausts himself trying to force outcomes that should flow naturally from a strong signal. Atkinson taught that this is a losing strategy. You cannot build a life of sustained success on brute force alone. You must develop the broadcast strength that makes effort efficient. This is the difference between the man who works 80 hours a week and barely survives and the man who works 40 hours a week and thrives. The latter has a stronger broadcast. He is attracting opportunities through resonance rather than chasing them through desperation. But how do you develop broadcast strength? Atkinson's answer is twofold: clarity and intensity. First, you must be crystal clear about what you are broadcasting. You cannot send out a strong signal if you do not know what you want to transmit. Most men are broadcasting confusion because they are confused. They want success but also fear failure. They want love but also fear rejection. They want wealth but also feel guilt about money. These contradictory frequencies cancel each other out, resulting in a weak, muddled signal that produces weak, muddled results. Atkinson insisted that you must resolve these inner conflicts. You must decide what you stand for, what you want, and who you are. Once you have clarity, you can focus your entire being on broadcasting that single, coherent message. This is the first step to power. The second step is intensity. A clear but weak signal is better than a muddled signal, but it is still insufficient. You must infuse your broadcast with emotional and volitional intensity. You must care deeply about what you are transmitting. You must will it into existence with every ounce of mental force you possess. This is not about wishful thinking. It is about concentrated mental effort. You are not hoping for a result. You are demanding it through the sheer power of your focused vibration. Atkinson also taught that broadcast strength can be cultivated through practice. It is not a fixed trait that you either have or do not have. It is a skill that can be developed through daily mental discipline. He recommended exercises such as sitting quietly and visualizing yourself as a powerful transmitting station, sending out waves of confidence, strength, and purpose in all directions. He recommended mentally affirming your desired state with intensity and repetition until the affirmation becomes your default vibration. He recommended exposing yourself to environments and people that resonate with high frequencies, as their broadcasts will help tune yours upward. These are not passive techniques. They require commitment and consistency, but the man who practices them diligently will find that his broadcast grows stronger over time. What once required immense effort becomes effortless. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. This is the power of broadcast strength, and it is the bridge between the advancing man of Wattles and the magnetic man of Atkinson. Consider the historical example of Theodore Roosevelt, a man who embodied broadcast strength. Roosevelt was not the most physically imposing man, nor was he the most intellectually brilliant, but he possessed an indomitable will and a clarity of purpose that radiated from him like heat from a furnace. People who met him spoke of feeling overwhelmed by his presence, as if he occupied more space than his physical body should allow. This was not arrogance, it was broadcast. Roosevelt knew who he was, what he stood for, and where he was going. That clarity, combined with his intense vitality, created a signal so strong that it bent reality around him. Doors opened, allies appeared. Enemies retreated. He did not achieve what he achieved through luck or connections alone. He achieved it through the sheer power of his vibrational presence. Atkinson would say that Roosevelt was a natural master of the broadcast, and that any man can cultivate this same power through conscious effort and discipline. You do not need to be born with it. You can build it. Finally, the concept of broadcast strength reframes the entire notion of competition. Most men believe they are competing for limited resources, limited jobs, limited opportunities, limited women. Atkinson would tell you that this is a scarcity mindset that weakens your broadcast. When you believe resources are scarce, you vibrate scarcity and you attract scarcity. The man with a strong broadcast does not compete, he attracts. He does not fight for scraps, he magnetizes abundance. He understands that the universe is not a zero-sum game, but a field of infinite possibility, and that his job is not to take from others, but to align his frequency with the frequency of the outcomes he desires. When he does this, opportunities that are perfect for him flow toward him effortlessly, while opportunities that are not aligned with his frequency flow away. There is no competition in this model because each man is attracting according to his unique signal. The only competition is within yourself. Are you broadcasting strength or weakness, clarity or confusion, confidence or fear? The answer to that question determines everything. This broadcast travels ahead of you. It enters the room before you do. It walks into the interview before you sit down. It meets the woman before you say your first word. This is not metaphorical. This is the literal operation of vibrational influence as Atkinson understood it. Your mental and emotional state radiates outward at all times, and this radiation precedes your physical presence. When you are about to enter a room, The people inside that room are already being influenced by your approaching broadcast. If your broadcast is one of confidence, calm, and purpose, they will feel a subtle anticipation, a curiosity, a receptiveness to your arrival. If your broadcast is one of anxiety, neediness, or desperation, they will feel a vague sense of discomfort, a closing off, a subtle desire for you not to enter. This is the phenomenon of pre-paving, and it is one of the most powerful concepts in Atkinson's teaching. You are not just influencing people in the moment of interaction, you are influencing them before the interaction even begins. You are setting the stage, priming the environment, creating the conditions for success or failure before you have a chance to say a word. Think about the last time you met someone who impressed you immediately. Before they spoke, before they demonstrated any competence, you felt drawn to them. You felt that they were worth your time, that they had something valuable to offer. This was their broadcast doing the work. They pre-paved your mind with a signal of value, and you responded accordingly. Now think about someone who repelled you immediately. Again, before they did anything objectionable, you felt a desire to distance yourself. This was their broadcast warning you away. They pre-paved your mind with a signal of weakness, and you responded by withdrawing. Atkinson taught that this process is happening constantly in every interaction, and that the man who understands it can use it to his advantage. You do not need to rely on charm or persuasion if your broadcast is strong. The work is done before you open your mouth. The sale is half made before you sit down at the negotiating table. The rapport is established before you shake hands. This is the ultimate efficiency, and it is available to any man who is willing to master his internal frequency. The concept of pre-paving also explains why first impressions are so difficult to overcome. When you meet someone while broadcasting a weak or negative frequency, that frequency imprints itself on their subconscious mind. Even if you later improve your behavior, the initial broadcast has already set the tone. They have filed you under weak or untrustworthy, and it requires enormous effort to change that classification. Conversely, if you meet someone while broadcasting a strong, positive frequency, you are filed under valuable or powerful, and subsequent interactions are filtered through that lens. This is why Atkinson was so insistent on the importance of mental preparation before any significant encounter. You must take the time to tune your broadcast before you walk into the room. You must sit quietly, center yourself, and consciously choose the frequency you want to transmit. You must visualize yourself as confident, calm, and in control. You must feel that confidence in your body, in your chest, in your breath. Only when you have achieved that internal state should you proceed. If you walk into an important meeting while broadcasting anxiety, you have already lost. The pre-paving has worked against you, and no amount of clever talking will undo the damage. But pre-paving is not just about preparing yourself, it is also about preparing the environment. Atkinson taught that you can send your broadcast ahead of you deliberately, like a scout surveying the territory, before the army arrives. He recommended a technique he called mental projection, in which you sit quietly and visualize the upcoming interaction in vivid detail. You see the room, the people, the conversation. But you do not just observe, you project your desired frequency into the scene. You flood the environment with your broadcast, saturating it with confidence, goodwill, and positive expectation. You are, in effect, pre-programming the encounter. When you physically arrive, the environment has already been conditioned by your broadcast. The people in the room have already been subtly influenced, even if they are not conscious of it. This is not magic. It is the power of focused mental intention. You are using the law of vibration to shape reality before reality has a chance to shape you. Atkinson claimed that this technique, practiced consistently, could turn a hostile environment into a welcoming one, a skeptical audience into a receptive one, and a difficult negotiation into a smooth one. Consider the practical application in sales. The salesman who walks into a meeting cold, with no mental preparation, is broadcasting whatever his default state happens to be. If he woke up stressed, he is broadcasting stress. If he doubts his product, he is broadcasting doubt. The client picks up on this immediately, and the sale becomes an uphill battle. But the salesman who practices pre-paving takes a different approach. Before leaving his car, he sits for 5 minutes and tunes his frequency. He visualizes the client smiling, nodding, agreeing. He feels the satisfaction of closing the deal. He broadcasts confidence and certainty into the upcoming interaction. When he walks into the meeting, he is not starting from zero. He is starting from a place of advantage. His broadcast has already softened the client's resistance. The client feels inexplicably positive about the meeting even before the salesman speaks. This is not manipulation. It is alignment. The salesman is using the law of vibration to create conditions that are favorable to both parties. The client gets a product they need, delivered by someone who exudes confidence and competence. The salesman gets the sale. Both win, and the law of vibration facilitated the entire transaction. Pre-paving also applies to long-term goals. Atkinson taught that you can broadcast your desired future into existence by consistently holding the vision and feeling of that future in your mind. Every time you think about your goal with clarity and emotion, you are sending out a signal that travels ahead of you in time. You are creating a vibrational pathway that reality will follow. This is why sustained focus is so powerful. The man who thinks about his goal sporadically sends out a weak, inconsistent signal. The man who thinks about his goal every day with intensity and feeling sends out a strong, consistent signal. The latter is pre-paving his future with such force that the universe has no choice but to deliver. Opportunities align, resources appear, people offer help. It all seems like luck, but it is not luck. It is the result of a powerful, sustained broadcast that has been preparing the way for months or years. Atkinson would say that success is not found, it is attracted through the power of pre-paving. However, Atkinson also warned that pre-paving cuts both ways. If you habitually worry about failure, you are pre-paving failure. If you constantly imagine worst-case scenarios, you are broadcasting those scenarios into your future and increasing the likelihood that they will manifest. This is why worry is so destructive. It is not just unpleasant, it is actively creative. Every moment you spend worrying is a moment you spend broadcasting the very thing you fear, calling it toward you through the law of vibration. Atkinson was ruthless in his condemnation of worry. He called it negative pre-paving, and he insisted that it must be eliminated if you want to live a powerful life. The man who worries is his own worst enemy. He is using the same law that could make him successful to ensure his failure. The solution is not to suppress worry, but to replace it with confident expectation. You must train yourself to think about success as naturally as you currently think about failure. This is not easy, but it is possible, and it is the only way to stop sabotaging your future through negative pre-paving. In practical terms, pre-paving requires discipline and routine. Atkinson recommended setting aside time each day to mentally prepare for upcoming events. This could be as simple as 5 minutes in the morning to visualize the day going well, or as elaborate as a detailed mental rehearsal of a critical meeting. The key is consistency. You cannot pre-pave sporadically and expect results. You must make it a habit, a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Over time, you will notice that your interactions become smoother, your opportunities become more frequent, and your life becomes easier. This is not because you have become luckier. It is because you have become more skillful at using the law of vibration to shape your reality. You are no longer reacting to circumstances. You are creating circumstances. You are no longer at the mercy of chance. You are directing the flow of events through the power of your broadcast. This is the essence of pre-paving, and it is one of the most practical tools Atkinson offers for taking control of your life. Finally, the concept of pre-paving underscores the importance of mental hygiene. If your mind is cluttered with negative thoughts, resentments, and fears, you are constantly pre-paving negative outcomes. You are sending out a toxic broadcast that contaminates every interaction and every opportunity. Atkinson taught that you must guard your mental space as carefully as you would guard your home from intruders. You must be vigilant about the thoughts you allow to take root. You must ruthlessly eliminate negative thinking patterns and replace them with positive, constructive ones. This is not about being naive or ignoring reality. It is about choosing the reality you want to create. Every thought is a seed. If you plant seeds of doubt, you will harvest failure. If you plant seeds of confidence, you will harvest success. The law is neutral, but your choice of seeds is not. Pre-paving is the art of planting the right seeds in advance, so that when you arrive at the moment of harvest, you reap the results you desire rather than the results you fear. How do you power the broadcast? How do you ensure that your signal is strong enough to cut through the noise and command the attention of the universe? Atkinson's answer is unequivocal: the will. The will is not just the mechanism for forcing yourself to take action when you do not feel like it. It is not merely the grit that gets you out of bed or pushes you through a difficult task. The will, as Atkinson understood it, is the dynamo that generates mental and vibrational energy. It is the source of your broadcast strength. You must consciously will your vibration outward. You do not just feel confident, you project confidence. You do not just experience calm, you radiate calm. This is a deliberate act of mental projection, and it requires the full engagement of your will. Most men are passive broadcasters. They allow their emotions and thoughts to drift wherever circumstance pushes them, and their broadcast reflects this passivity. Weak, inconsistent, easily disrupted. The man who masters his will becomes an active broadcaster. He chooses his frequency, he maintains it through discipline, and he projects it with force. This is the difference between the man who is buffeted by life and the man who commands life. Atkinson taught that the will is like a muscle. It can be strengthened through use and weakened through neglect. Every time you force yourself to maintain a desired mental state in the face of opposition, whether that opposition comes from external circumstances or internal resistance, you are training your will. Every time you choose confidence when you feel fear, every time you choose calm when you feel anger, every time you choose focus when you feel distraction, you are building the strength of your will. Over time, this becomes easier. What once required immense effort becomes automatic. Your will becomes so strong that maintaining a high-frequency broadcast is no longer a struggle. It is your natural state. This is the goal: to develop a will so powerful that your broadcast is unshakable, regardless of what life throws at you. Atkinson believed that most men live at a fraction of their potential because they have never trained their will. They are like athletes who have never lifted a weight, wondering why they are weak. The solution is obvious. Begin the training. Start small, with manageable challenges, and gradually increase the difficulty as your will grows stronger. The will also determines the intensity of your broadcast. A weak will produces a weak signal, no matter how clear your intention. You might know exactly what you want to attract, but if you lack the willpower to maintain focus on that desire, your broadcast will flicker and fade. Atkinson compared this to a radio station that keeps losing power. The signal is there, but it is too weak to reach anyone. The man with a strong will, on the other hand, can broadcast with relentless intensity. His signal is so powerful that it penetrates obstacles, overcomes resistance, and compels a response from the universe. This is why willpower is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Without it, you are at the mercy of your environment and your emotions. With it, you become the master of your internal state and, by extension, your external reality. Atkinson was adamant that the cultivation of willpower is the single most important task a man can undertake. Everything else, success, relationships, health, flows from a strong will. Without it, you are adrift. With it, you are unstoppable. But how exactly do you use the will to project your vibration? Atkinson provided a specific technique. First, you must achieve clarity about the state you wish to project. Do you want to project confidence, calm, authority, power? Choose one and hold it in your mind with laser focus. Second, you must feel that state in your body. Confidence is not an abstract concept, it is a physical sensation. You feel it in your chest, in your posture, in the way you breathe. You must cultivate that feeling until it is vivid and real. Third, you must consciously will that feeling outward. Imagine it radiating from you in waves, like heat from a fire or light from a lamp. You are not keeping it contained within yourself. You are broadcasting it to everyone around you. You are saying, through the force of your will, this is what I am. This is what I project. This is what you will feel when you are near me. This is not a passive exercise. It requires intense concentration and sustained effort, but the results are undeniable. People will respond to your broadcast without understanding why. They will feel drawn to you or intimidated by you or calmed by you, depending on what you are projecting, and you will have the satisfaction of knowing that you are in control of the signal. Atkinson also taught that the will can be used to block negative influences. Just as you can project your desired state outward, you can also use your will to create a barrier against unwanted vibrations. When you are in a toxic environment, surrounded by fearful, angry, or petty people, their broadcasts will attempt to drag your frequency down. If you are passive, you will absorb their negativity and begin to vibrate at their level. But if you engage your will, you can resist. You mentally declare, "I am immune to these vibrations. My frequency is under my control and I will not be influenced by external negativity." This is not arrogance, it is self-preservation. You are using your will to maintain the integrity of your broadcast in the face of hostile forces. Atkinson called this the mental shield, and he insisted that every man must learn to deploy it. Without it, you are vulnerable to the psychic pollution of the crowd. With it, you can move through any environment without being contaminated. Consider the practical example of public speaking. The man with a weak will walks onto the stage and immediately feels the anxiety of the audience. They are skeptical, bored, or hostile, and their collective broadcast begins to destabilize him. His confidence falters, his voice wavers, his message gets lost. But the man with a strong will takes a different approach. Before stepping onto the stage, he engages his will. He consciously projects confidence, authority, and calm. He floods the room with his broadcast before the audience even sees him. When he walks out, his signal is so strong that it overrides the audience's skepticism. They feel his power before he speaks, and they are primed to listen. His will has turned a potentially hostile environment into a receptive one. This is the power of the will as dynamo. It does not just generate your internal state, it shapes the external environment by projecting that state with force. Atkinson further taught that the will must be used with precision. It is not enough to will vaguely for good things or success. You must will for specific outcomes with intense focus. The more specific your intention, the more focused your will, the stronger your broadcast. This is why goal setting is so important. A man without clear goals is broadcasting a confused signal. A man with crystal clear goals is broadcasting a laser-focused signal. The universe responds to clarity and intensity. It ignores vagueness and apathy. Atkinson would tell you to sit down, define exactly what you want, and then engage your will to project that desire into the ether with relentless consistency. Do not hope. Do not wish. Do not beg. Demand. Use your will to command the outcome you desire and trust the law of vibration to deliver. Finally, the will is the antidote to victim mentality. The man who believes he is powerless has a weak will. He has surrendered control of his internal state to external circumstances, and his broadcast reflects that surrender. He vibrates helplessness, and the universe responds by keeping him helpless. The man who cultivates a strong will refuses to be a victim. He takes responsibility for his internal state, regardless of external conditions. He says, "I choose my frequency, I control my broadcast, I am the master of my mind, and therefore I am the master of my life." This is not naive optimism. It is the recognition that your will is the only tool you need to change your reality. Everything else, money, connections, talent, is secondary. With a strong will, you can overcome any obstacle. Without it, even the best circumstances will not save you. Atkinson's message is clear. Develop your will and you develop your power. Neglect your will and you remain weak no matter what advantages you possess. You carry your own weather. This is one of Atkinson's most vivid and powerful metaphors. Just as a storm system carries its own atmospheric conditions wherever it moves, you carry your own mental atmosphere. This atmosphere is the sum total of your habitual thoughts, feelings, and vibrations, and it follows you everywhere you go. When you enter a room, you bring your weather with you. If your mental atmosphere is stormy, filled with anger, fear, or chaos, people will feel it. They will become uneasy, defensive, or hostile in your presence. If your mental atmosphere is clear and calm, filled with confidence, peace, and purpose, people will feel that instead. They will relax, open up, and trust you. This is not metaphysical speculation. This is observable reality. You have felt the weather of others, and others have felt yours. The question is, are you aware of the weather you are generating, and are you taking responsibility for it? Most men are not. They believe their mental state is a private matter, something that affects only themselves. Atkinson would tell them they are gravely mistaken. Your mental atmosphere is public. It radiates from you constantly, and it affects everyone you encounter. If you are chronically anxious, you are polluting the environment with your anxiety. People around you will begin to feel anxious, even if they have no reason to be. If you are chronically confident, you are enriching the environment with your confidence. People around you will feel more capable, more optimistic, more energized. This is the contagious nature of mental atmosphere. You are not just responsible for your own state, you are responsible for the influence your state has on others. This is a heavy responsibility, but it is also a tremendous opportunity. If you can master your mental atmosphere, you can become a force for positive influence in every situation you enter. You can uplift, inspire, and empower others simply by maintaining a high-frequency internal state. But how do you change your mental atmosphere? Atkinson's answer is to hold the keynote. Every piece of music has a keynote, the foundational tone around which the entire composition is built. Your mental atmosphere also has a keynote, the dominant thought or feeling that defines your vibration. For most men, this keynote is chosen unconsciously. They inherit it from their environment, their past, or their habits. It might be fear, or resentment, or mediocrity. And because they have never consciously chosen their keynote, they are stuck with it. Atkinson taught that you must consciously select your keynote and then hold it relentlessly. You pick a single word, courage, power, calm, confidence, joy, and you make that word the center of your mental atmosphere. You repeat it mentally throughout the day. You visualize it. You feel it. You hum it in your mind until your entire being vibrates with that tone. Over time, this keynote becomes your default frequency. It becomes the weather you carry with you everywhere you go. The technique of holding the keynote is deceptively simple, but it requires tremendous discipline. The mind is constantly wandering, constantly being pulled in different directions by external stimuli and internal chatter. To hold a single note amidst this chaos is an act of will. Atkinson recommended starting with short sessions, 5 or 10 minutes at a time, in which you focus exclusively on your chosen keynote. You sit quietly, close your eyes, and repeat the word in your mind with feeling. You do not just think the word, you feel its meaning. If your keynote is power, you feel power surging through your body. If your keynote is calm, you feel calm spreading through your nervous system. You immerse yourself in the vibration of the word until it becomes real. Over time, you extend these sessions and integrate them into your daily life. You hold the keynote while walking, while working, while interacting with others. It becomes a constant background hum that keeps your mental atmosphere stable and aligned with your desired state. Atkinson also taught that the keynote acts as a filter for incoming thoughts and emotions. Once you have established a strong keynote, any thought or feeling that does not resonate with that note will feel jarring and foreign. If your keynote is confidence and a thought of self-doubt arises, you will immediately recognize it as discordant. This recognition allows you to reject the thought before it takes root. You are not fighting against negativity. You are simply maintaining the integrity of your keynote. The negative thought cannot coexist with the positive keynote, so it naturally falls away. This is a much more efficient and sustainable approach than trying to suppress negative thoughts through force. You are not creating a battleground in your mind. You are creating a harmonious environment in which only thoughts that align with your keynote are welcome. The concept of the mental atmosphere also explains why some environments feel oppressive while others feel uplifting. Every room, every building, every city has its own mental atmosphere, created by the collective broadcast of the people who inhabit it. When you walk into a room filled with depressed, cynical people, you are walking into a heavy, oppressive atmosphere. Their collective keynote is despair, and it weighs on you like a physical burden. When you walk into a room filled with energized, optimistic people, You are walking into a light, uplifting atmosphere. Their collective keynote is enthusiasm, and it lifts you up. Atkinson taught that you can influence the mental atmosphere of any space by bringing a strong, positive keynote into it. If you are the only person in a room vibrating confidence, your broadcast may not be strong enough to shift the entire atmosphere. But if you hold your keynote consistently, you will at least protect yourself from being dragged down, and you may inspire one or two others to raise their frequency as well. Over time, as more people adopt higher keynotes, the collective atmosphere shifts, and the environment becomes a place of energy and growth rather than stagnation and decay. Atkinson also addressed the phenomenon of mood contagion, in which one person's mental atmosphere can quickly spread to others. This is why a single pessimist can poison an entire team, and why a single optimist can revitalize it. The keynote is contagious. If your keynote is strong and consistent, people around you will begin to resonate with it, often without realizing it. They will start to think, feel, and act in ways that align with your frequency. This is not manipulation, it is natural resonance. You are not forcing them to change. You are simply offering a frequency that is more appealing than the one they were vibrating at. If they are stuck in a low-frequency state, your high-frequency keynote gives them an escape route. They feel better in your presence and they associate that feeling with you. This is the foundation of personal magnetism. You become someone people want to be around because your mental atmosphere makes them feel better about themselves and their circumstances. Finally, the practice of holding the keynote is a form of self-mastery. It is easy to maintain a positive mental atmosphere when everything is going well. The true test comes when life throws challenges at you. Can you hold your keynote of calm when chaos erupts around you? Can you hold your keynote of confidence when you face rejection or failure? Can you hold your keynote of power when you feel weak and exhausted? This is where the discipline is forged. Atkinson taught that the man who can maintain his mental atmosphere, regardless of external circumstances, is the man who has achieved true mastery. He is no longer at the mercy of his environment. He has become the environment. His weather is so strong that it overrides the weather around him. He brings his own climate wherever he goes, and that climate is one of strength, clarity, and purpose. This is the ultimate goal of the keynote practice, to make your mental atmosphere so stable and so powerful that nothing can disturb it. Just as you broadcast, you also receive. This is the duality of mental vibration that Atkinson emphasized. You are not just a transmitting station, you are also a receiving station. And if you are not careful, you will pick up the negative static of the crowd, the fear, panic, depression, and low-frequency noise that permeates most environments. This is especially dangerous in times of crisis or mass hysteria, when the collective broadcast becomes overwhelmingly negative. If you are passive, if you do not consciously protect yourself, you will absorb this negativity and begin to vibrate at the same low frequency as everyone else. You will feel anxious for no reason. You will feel depressed even when your personal circumstances are fine. You will feel defeated even when you have not suffered any personal loss. This is not your emotion. It is the emotion of the crowd, and you have picked it up because you failed to insulate yourself. Atkinson taught that this is one of the greatest dangers modern man faces, the constant bombardment of negative vibrations from a fearful, chaotic society. If you do not learn to protect yourself, you will be swept away by the current. The solution is what Atkinson called the insulating aura. This is a deliberate mental construct that you create to shield yourself from unwanted vibrations. You must mentally draw a circle around yourself and decree, "I am immune to negative vibrations. I am surrounded by an aura of protection. No fear, no panic, no despair can penetrate this barrier. I am in control of my mental state, and I choose to vibrate at a high frequency regardless of what is happening around me." This is not wishful thinking. It is an act of will. You are using your mental power to create a buffer zone between yourself and the toxic broadcasts of the crowd. Atkinson taught that this aura must be renewed daily, especially if you are moving through negative environments. You cannot set it once and forget it. You must consciously reinforce it every morning, and again throughout the day if you feel it weakening. The insulating aura is your first line of defense against psychic pollution, and without it, you are vulnerable to being dragged down by forces beyond your control. But the insulating aura is not just a shield, it is also a statement of sovereignty. By creating this aura, you are declaring that your mental state is your own. You are not a sponge that passively absorbs whatever vibrations happen to be in the air. You are a fortress, with walls that keep out the unwanted and gates that admit only what you choose to allow. This is a radical repositioning of power. Most men believe they are at the mercy of their emotional responses to external events. They believe that if something bad happens in the world, they must feel bad. If the news is frightening, they must feel afraid. If the economy is struggling, they must feel anxious. Atkinson would tell them that this is a lie. You do not have to feel anything you do not choose to feel. External events are just events. They have no power over your internal state unless you grant them that power. The insulating aura is the mechanism by which you revoke that power. You say, in effect, I acknowledge that negative things are happening, but I refuse to allow those things to determine my vibration. I'm in control here, not the circumstances. The practice of maintaining an insulating aura also reveals who is strong and who is weak. The weak man is the one who is constantly buffeted by the emotions of the crowd. He feels whatever the crowd feels. If the crowd is panicking, he panics. If the crowd is despairing, he despairs. He has no center, no anchor, no independent vibration. He is a leaf blown by the wind. The strong man, by contrast, maintains his aura even in the midst of chaos. He observes the panic of the crowd, but he does not participate in it. He feels the pull of fear, but he does not succumb to it. His aura holds firm, and his frequency remains high. This does not mean he is unaware of danger or indifferent to suffering. It means he understands that his power to help, to lead, to solve problems depends on his ability to maintain a clear, high-frequency mental state. If he allows himself to be dragged down into the fear and confusion of the crowd, he becomes part of the problem. If he maintains his aura, he becomes part of the solution. Atkinson taught that this is the responsibility of every man who aspires to leadership, to be the stable center in the storm, the high-frequency signal that others can tune into when their own signal falters. Atkinson also warned against a common mistake, confusing the insulating aura with cold detachment. The aura is not about shutting yourself off from the world or becoming emotionally numb. It is about choosing which vibrations you allow to influence you. You can still feel compassion, empathy, and love. In fact, these are high-frequency emotions, and they strengthen your aura rather than weaken it. What you are blocking are the low-frequency emotions of fear, despair, and hatred. You are not becoming heartless, you are becoming discerning. You are saying, I will respond to the world from a place of strength and clarity, not from a place of fear and confusion. This is a subtle but critical distinction. The man who misunderstands the aura may become isolated and alienated, believing that strength means coldness. Atkinson would correct him. True strength is warm, but it is not weak. True strength is compassionate, but it is not vulnerable to manipulation. The insulating aura allows you to be strong and warm at the same time. Consider the example of a leader during a crisis. His team is panicking. The situation looks dire. The collective broadcast of the group is one of fear and helplessness. If the leader does not have an insulating aura, he will absorb this fear and become paralyzed. He will lose his ability to think clearly, to make decisions, to inspire confidence. But if the leader has trained himself to maintain his aura, he remains calm in the midst of the storm. His high-frequency broadcast cuts through the panic of the group. They feel his calm, and it begins to soothe their fear. They look to him for direction, and he is able to provide it because his mental state is not compromised by their chaos. This is the power of the insulating aura in action. It allows you to be the eye of the hurricane, the still point around which everything else revolves. And in that stillness, you find the clarity and power to act effectively. Atkinson also taught that the insulating aura must be tested. It is not enough to meditate on your aura in the safety of your home and assume it will hold when you venture into the world. You must deliberately expose yourself to challenging environments to see if your aura remains intact. Go into a crowded place filled with anxious, hurried people. Observe whether you begin to feel anxious yourself, or whether your aura holds firm and you remain calm. Spend time with someone who is deeply pessimistic. Observe whether their negativity begins to infect you, or whether your aura protects you and perhaps even lifts them up. These are the field tests that reveal the strength of your aura. If you find that your aura collapses under pressure, it means you need more practice. Return to your daily exercises, strengthen your will, and reinforce your mental boundaries. Over time, your aura will become unshakable, and you will be able to move through any environment without being contaminated. The insulating aura also has a secondary benefit. It makes you more attractive. People are drawn to those who are not emotionally volatile, who do not swing wildly between moods based on external events. There is something deeply reassuring about a person who remains steady, whose frequency is consistent and high. This steadiness is a form of strength, and strength is magnetic. When people are around you, they feel safe. They feel that you will not add to their chaos, but will instead provide a stabilizing influence. This makes you valuable in relationships, in business, in leadership. You become the person others turn to when things go wrong because they know you will not panic. You will not add fuel to the fire. You will instead provide the calm, clear-headed guidance that allows the situation to be resolved. This is the social power of the insulating aura, and it is worth cultivating for this reason alone, even if you do not care about spiritual development or metaphysical principles. Finally, the insulating aura is a practice of self-respect. By refusing to allow external vibrations to dictate your internal state, you are declaring that you value your mental and emotional well-being. You are saying that your peace of mind is not for sale, that it cannot be stolen by circumstances or by the negativity of others. This is a profound act of self-sovereignty. It means you are no longer a victim of your environment. You are no longer at the mercy of events. You are the master of your own mind, and that mastery is the foundation of all power. Atkinson believed that this was the most important lesson a man could learn, that he is not helpless, that he is not powerless, that he has within him the ability to create an unbreachable fortress of mental and emotional strength. The insulating aura is the wall of that fortress, and once you have built it, you are free. When you feel a negative thought entering your mental space, you must kill it instantly with a positive assertion. Atkinson called this technique killing out, and it is one of the most practical and powerful tools he offers for maintaining a high-frequency broadcast. You do not fight the darkness by wrestling with it, by analyzing it, by trying to understand where it came from or why it is there. You turn on the light. You assert a positive truth directly against the negative falsehood until the broadcast clears. If you feel a wave of weakness, you immediately assert, "I am power." If you feel a surge of doubt, you immediately assert, "I am confidence." If you feel overwhelmed by fear, you immediately assert, "I am calm." You do not hesitate. You do not negotiate with the negative thought. You obliterate it with the force of your positive assertion. Atkinson taught that this must be done with intensity and conviction. A half-hearted assertion is useless. You must declare the positive truth as if your life depends on it, because in a very real sense, it does. Your mental state is your life, and if you allow it to be overtaken by negativity, you will live a negative life. The technique of killing out is based on a simple principle. Two thoughts cannot occupy the same mental space at the same time. If you are intensely focused on "I am power," there is no room for "I am weak." The positive thought drives out the negative thought through sheer force, but this only works if the positive thought is stronger than the negative thought. This is why intensity matters. If your assertion is weak and timid, the negative thought will simply wait for you to tire and then reassert itself. But if your assertion is powerful and sustained, the negative thought has no chance. It is obliterated, and the mental space is claimed by the positive frequency. Atkinson compared this to a battle. You are at war with negativity, and you must be ruthless in your offensive. You cannot show mercy to negative thoughts. You cannot entertain them or give them a hearing. You must attack them the moment they appear and drive them from your mind with extreme prejudice. But killing out is not just a defensive technique. It is also a training exercise. Every time you successfully drive out a negative thought with a positive assertion, you are strengthening your mental discipline. You are training your mind to default to positivity rather than negativity. Over time, the negative thoughts appear less frequently because your mind has learned that they will be immediately crushed. You are conditioning your mental atmosphere to be hostile to negativity and welcoming to positivity. This is the long-term benefit of the practice. In the short term, you are protecting your frequency in the moment. In the long term, you are reprogramming your default state. Atkinson believed that with consistent practice, a man could reach a point where negative thoughts rarely arise, and when they do, they are so weak that they can be dismissed with a single assertion. This is the state of mental mastery, and it is the goal of the killing out technique. Atkinson also taught that the content of the assertion matters. You cannot just shout random positive words and expect results. The assertion must be the direct opposite of the negative thought you are combating. If the negative thought is "I will fail," the assertion must be "I will succeed." If the negative thought is "No one respects me," the assertion must be "I am respected." The assertion must be tailored to neutralize the specific poison that has entered your mind. This requires awareness. You must be alert to the content of your thoughts so that you can respond appropriately. Most men are so unconscious of their thoughts that they do not even notice when negativity creeps in. By the time they become aware of it, the negative thought has already taken root and begun to influence their behavior. Atkinson insisted on constant mental vigilance. You must become the watchman at the gate of your mind, inspecting every thought that tries to enter and rejecting those that do not serve your desired frequency. The practice of killing out also reveals the power of language. Words are not just symbols, they are vibrational forces. When you assert "I am power," you are not just describing yourself, you are creating yourself. The words carry energy, and that energy reshapes your mental atmosphere. This is why Atkinson was so particular about the phrasing of assertions. He recommended using present tense declarative statements that are as simple and direct as possible. "I am" statements are particularly powerful because they are statements of identity, not aspiration. You are not saying "I want to be powerful" or "I hope to be confident." You are saying "I am power, I am confidence." This eliminates doubt and creates a direct, forceful broadcast. The subconscious mind responds to this kind of language, and it begins to align your entire being with the truth of the assertion. Over time, the assertion becomes reality, not because you wished it into existence, but because you broadcasted it with such intensity that the universe had no choice but to deliver. Atkinson further advised that the killing out technique should be practiced proactively, not just reactively. Do not wait until you feel weak to assert power. Assert power every morning as a preventive measure. Build up your positive frequency when you are strong so that you have reserves to draw on when you are challenged. This is like building muscle. You do not wait until you need to lift a heavy object to start training. You train consistently so that when the moment comes, you are ready. Similarly, you should be asserting your desired states daily, reinforcing them, etching them into your mental atmosphere so deeply that they become your default frequency. Then, when a negative thought does arise, your positive broadcast is so strong that it crushes the negativity instantly without effort. This is the state of mastery that Atkinson envisioned, a mind so thoroughly conditioned to positivity that negativity cannot gain a foothold. Consider the practical example of public criticism. You receive harsh feedback on a project you worked hard on. The immediate emotional response is hurt, anger, or self-doubt. A negative thought arises: "I am not good enough. I failed." If you do not kill out this thought immediately, it will begin to spread. It will infect your confidence, your motivation, your future performance. But if you have trained yourself in the killing out technique, you respond instantly. "I am capable. I am learning. I am improving." You do not deny the criticism or refuse to learn from it, but you do refuse to let it define your identity. You acknowledge the feedback, extract the useful information, and then assert your positive identity with force. The negative thought is killed out, and you move forward without emotional baggage. This is the power of the technique in real-world application. Atkinson also warned against the trap of spiritual bypassing. in which a person uses positive assertions to avoid dealing with real problems. Killing out is not about denying reality. It is about refusing to let reality define your vibration. If you are in a bad situation, asserting "I am successful" does not magically fix the situation, but it does keep your mental state strong so that you can take effective action to improve the situation. The assertion is not a substitute for action. It is the fuel for action. It keeps your frequency high so that you can think clearly, act decisively, and attract the resources you need to change your circumstances. If you are using assertions to avoid taking action, you are misusing the technique. The goal is to maintain a high-frequency broadcast while simultaneously engaging with reality in a practical, effective manner. Finally, the killing out technique is a declaration of mental independence. By refusing to allow negative thoughts to take root, you are declaring that you are not a victim of your mind. You are not at the mercy of random thoughts and emotions. You are the master and the mind is the servant. This is a radical shift in identity. Most men believe they are their thoughts. If a thought of weakness arises, they assume they are weak. If a thought of failure arises, they assume they will fail. Atkinson would tell them that they are not their thoughts. They are the observer and controller of their thoughts. You are the one who decides which thoughts to entertain and which to reject. This is the essence of mental mastery, and it is the foundation of personal power. Once you understand this, once you internalize this truth, you become unstoppable. No external force can defeat you because you have taken control of the only battlefield that truly matters, your own mind. Let us synthesize what we have learned. Opportunities are not lucky accidents that fall from the sky. They are not the result of being in the right place at the right time. They are attracted through the power of your broadcast. You are a transmitting station, sending out a constant signal that tells the universe exactly what you are and what you expect. If your signal is one of confidence, clarity, and purpose, you will attract opportunities that align with those qualities. If your signal is one of fear, doubt, and confusion, you will attract circumstances that reflect those qualities. This is not mysticism, this is mechanics. The law of vibration is as precise and impersonal as the law of gravity. It does not care about your good intentions or your hard work. It cares only about the frequency you are broadcasting. If you want to change your results, you must change your broadcast. This is the single most important insight Atkinson offers, and it is the key to everything that follows. You are fishing and the world is the ocean. What you catch depends entirely on the bait you are using. If you are using the bait of fear, you will catch predators and thieves. If you are using the bait of confidence, you will catch partners and allies. You cannot complain about the fish you are catching if you refuse to change your bait. Most men spend their entire lives fishing with the wrong bait and then blaming the ocean for their poor catch. Atkinson would tell them to stop blaming the ocean and change the bait. The ocean is neutral. It will deliver whatever your bait attracts. This is the brutal simplicity of the law, and it is also the profound empowerment. You are not at the mercy of luck or fate. You are the one who chooses the bait. You are the one who controls the broadcast, and therefore you are the one who determines what you attract. This synthesis brings together everything we have discussed: the materiality of thought, the law of attraction, the power of the will, the importance of the keynote, the necessity of the insulating aura, and the technique of killing out. These are not separate ideas. They are components of a single system. When you master this system, you become magnetic. You do not chase opportunities, they chase you. You do not beg for respect, it is given freely. You do not struggle for success, it flows toward you with ease. This is not because you have become lucky. It is because you have aligned your broadcast with the outcomes you desire. You have tuned your frequency to the frequency of success, and the law of resonance has taken over. Like attracts like, and you are now broadcasting the signal of a winner. The universe has no choice but to respond accordingly. We have journeyed through the teachings of William Walker Atkinson, a man who understood the invisible forces that govern success and failure. He was not a mystic lost in the clouds. He was an engineer of the mind, and he left us a precise blueprint for harnessing the power of thought vibration. His message is clear: we attract to us the things we desire or fear. The law of attraction is as precise as the law of gravitation. It does not play favorites. It does not make exceptions. It delivers to each man exactly what he is broadcasting, with ruthless accuracy. If your life is not what you want it to be, it is because your broadcast is not what it should be. This is the uncomfortable truth that most men refuse to accept. They want to believe that external circumstances are to blame for their suffering. But Atkinson strips away that comforting lie and reveals the hard reality. You are the broadcaster, you are the cause, and therefore you are also the solution. Atkinson taught that the mind is the most powerful radio transmitter in the universe. You are sending out a signal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that signal is shaping your reality in real time. Most men are broadcasting on autopilot, allowing their thoughts to wander wherever circumstance pushes them. They are transmitting weakness, fear, and doubt, and they wonder why their lives are filled with weakness, fear, and doubt. Atkinson's genius was to reveal the mechanism behind this phenomenon. He showed us that thoughts are not abstract. They are physical vibrations that travel through the ether and influence the behavior of everyone and everything they touch. When you think a thought, you are not just affecting yourself, you are affecting the entire field of reality around you. This is a staggering responsibility, but it is also a staggering opportunity. Because if you are the broadcaster, you can change the broadcast. You can tune to a different frequency. You can attract a different reality. The techniques Atkinson provides are not complicated, but they are demanding. They require discipline, consistency, and mental vigilance. You must consciously choose your thoughts, hold your keynote, project your will outward, maintain your insulating aura, and kill out negative thoughts the moment they arise. These are not tasks you can delegate. These are not skills you can learn once and then forget. They must be practiced daily, honed continuously, until they become second nature. This is the price of mastery, and it is a price worth paying. Because the alternative is to remain a passive victim of circumstance, buffeted by the winds of fate, wondering why life is so hard. Atkinson offers you a way out of that trap. He offers you the tools to take control of your internal state, and by extension, your external reality. But he cannot do the work for you. Only you can change your broadcast, only you can tune the dial. The power of Atkinson's teaching lies in its practicality. He is not asking you to believe in magic or surrender to faith. He is asking you to recognize a mechanical law and learn to use it for your benefit. The law of attraction is not a wish-granting genie. It is a precise, impersonal force that responds to the frequency you emit. If you want to master this law, you must become conscious of your frequency at all times. You must be aware of what you are thinking, what you are feeling, and what you are projecting. This is exhausting at first, because most men are completely unconscious of their mental state. They drift through life in a fog, reacting to events rather than creating them. Atkinson is calling you to wake up. He is calling you to take the helm of your own mind and steer it deliberately toward the outcomes you desire. This is the transition from passenger to captain, from victim to creator, from weak to powerful. Atkinson also understood that this work is never finished. You do not master your broadcast once and then coast for the rest of your life. The broadcast must be maintained. The frequency must be monitored. The aura must be reinforced. This is the discipline of a lifetime, and it is the discipline that separates the great from the mediocre. The great men of history were great not because they were lucky, but because they understood this principle, consciously or unconsciously. They vibrated at a high frequency, and the world responded by delivering opportunities, resources, and allies. The mediocre men of history remained mediocre because they never took control of their broadcast. They allowed their thoughts to drift, their emotions to control them, and their frequency to be determined by circumstance. Atkinson is offering you the choice. Will you be great, or will you be mediocre? The answer lies entirely in your hands, or more precisely, in your mind. Finally, Atkinson's teaching is a call to responsibility. You cannot blame others for your misery if you are the one broadcasting misery. You cannot complain about lack if you are the one vibrating lack. You cannot point to bad luck if you are the one sending out the signal that attracts bad luck. This is a bitter pill to swallow, but it is also the most liberating truth you will ever encounter. Because if you are responsible for your current reality, it means you have the power to change it. You are not helpless, you are not powerless. You are the master of your frequency, and your frequency determines your fate. Atkinson believed in the potential of every man to rise above his circumstances, but only if that man is willing to take full responsibility for his internal state. This is the master's science, the recognition that the battle for success is fought first in the mind, and that victory in the mind guarantees victory in the world. Tune the dial, boost the signal. These are not metaphors, these are instructions. You have a dial in your mind, and it determines the frequency you are broadcasting. Right now, in this moment, what station are you on? Are you broadcasting the loser station, the station of fear, doubt, and victimhood? Or are you broadcasting the winner station, the station of confidence, purpose, and power? The answer to that question is the answer to the question of your life. Everything you are experiencing right now, everything you have attracted into your life, is the result of the station you have been tuned to. If you do not like what you are receiving, tune to a different station. It is that simple and it is that hard. Simple because the mechanism is straightforward. Change your thoughts, change your frequency, change your results. Hard because it requires relentless discipline and the courage to take full responsibility for your current state. What are you broadcasting right now? Do not lie to yourself. Do not pretend. Look at your life. Look at your relationships, your finances, your health, your emotional state. These are not random, they are the precise reflection of your dominant broadcast. If you are surrounded by chaos, you are vibrating chaos. If you are surrounded by scarcity, you are vibrating scarcity. If you are surrounded by excellence, you are vibrating excellence. The law does not lie. It is the most honest mirror you will ever encounter, and it is showing you in brutal clarity what you have been broadcasting. Now the question is, are you willing to change? Are you willing to do the work of tuning the dial, holding the keynote, maintaining the insulating aura, and killing out the negative thoughts that sabotage your signal? Or will you continue to drift, continue to broadcast by default, continue to wonder why life is so hard? Atkinson believed that every man has the potential to become magnetic. Every man has the power to attract opportunities, wealth, love, and respect. But most men will never realize this potential because they are unwilling to take control of their broadcast. They want success, but they are not willing to pay the price of mental discipline. They want confidence, but they are not willing to kill out the thoughts of doubt. They want to attract excellence, but they are not willing to vibrate at the frequency of excellence. Atkinson's teaching is not for these men. It is for the man who is willing to do whatever it takes to master his mind, and by extension his life. It is for the man who is tired of being a victim and is ready to become a creator. It is for the man who understands that the silent broadcast is the most powerful force in his arsenal and who is committed to mastering it. I challenge you now, write in the comments, I attract success, not as a wish, not as a hope, but as a decree. As a declaration of the frequency you are committing to broadcast from this moment forward. Let the signal go out. Let the universe hear your claim. And then, more importantly, back it up with action. Go into your life and tune the dial. Boost the signal. Hold your keynote. Project your will. Maintain your aura. Kill out the negativity. Do this every day without fail and watch as your reality begins to shift. Opportunities will appear. People will respond differently to you. Doors will open that were previously closed. This is not magic. This is the law of attraction operating with mechanical precision. You have learned the science. Now it is time to apply it. The world is waiting for your broadcast. What will it be?